way that y'all look at a man that leads with his wallet is the way that we look at women that lead with their box. Like, a lot of women won't look their way if they're not already at a certain level, if they're not already making a certain amount of money, and they're not finding
Right,
that.
because what was you doing all this time?
Well, most people. Okay, so what's the average salary of black men? What do you think?
I don't know. I'm trying to be the average salary black woman over here. I'm trying to find a black man who already got his salary so we can.
But just give me a guess.
50,000, something like that. 65.
What you think?
I don't know, like probably the same 70.
About 42, right?
Okay.
If you adjust that for DC dollars, you're looking at around 60K. Most people are average people. Most people are not corporate people. You feel what I'm saying? So what's happening right now is like 50% of men have stopped approaching women in the last year. 63% of men have decided they don't want anything to do with women, situationship, short-term, long-term marriage. They don't want anything to do with women.
So they're pleading. What's the word I'm looking for? It begin with an A. It'll come to me. They just
Asexual or...
Yeah, just completely asexual.
I'm asexual as fuck right now. Serious.
But what's happening right now is men are like, yo, like the amount of effort it takes to get a woman right now is significantly higher than what it used to be, and then the value you get from women, it's not worth it. So they're just
Is that what research is saying?
yeah.
It's hard.
In terms of why they're choosing.
About men. That's why I'm literally single and asexual right now. I done did all that already.
I feel like
You hear the story. Y'all hear the stories. Y'all be around other girls where it's like, if a man can't fly me out on the first date, if a man not paying for my hair and nails and my dress on the first date, if a man's not taking me to
I don't think there's nothing
Mastro's.
wrong with having standards, but sometimes you be
Some girls
realistic.
are unrealistic
Yeah,
and
they just aren't
delusional as
realistic.
fuck, and I don't agree with that. But
Because
like,
I've been flown
if
out
you
on the
can't
first
fly
date.
yourself
See what I
out,
mean?
I don't think you should ask for
But
things like that.
that's what I'm saying. They provided the
She
vibe.
can fly herself out,
I can
though.
fly myself out.
Exactly, that's what my
He
point. Like, I
provide-
think girls that can't provide what they're asking
Asking
for
for?
from men most of the time are delusional. Like,
Those
if-
are the ones who be like, oh yeah, if he can't fly me out on the first date. Girl, have you ever dated anybody who flew you out on the first date? That can't be a standard if it's never been done.
But the
I've
man,
had a man
offering
fly
it
me out
to
on the
you.
first date, but I don't expect every man to do that.
Yeah.
the men that are doing that are not really the guys that you're trying to like lock in for marriage. Though that's the difference. It's
That's
like
not-
The guy
it's
that
a
flew me
good
out
time.
of the
He's
country
probably a
for-
cornball with money and he led with his wallet. Most men with integrity don't lead with their wallet. They
That's
lead
right.
with other character
That is
traits.
true.
So
Yeah,
when
that's
you're
true.
talking about he flew you out on the first date, that sounds
that's-
crazy as hell to me.
That's
Really?
Yes.
That's specific guy though.
That's some
like,
cornball.
You
Like
think so?
yeah.
So what if you're dating? You asked about online and dating because some people do meet off Instagram or whatever. I met a guy. He was in Atlanta. He flew me to Houston on the first date. That was what he wanted to do. How is that?
Let me
corny?
tell you the difference.
And
A person who leads with their primary commodity is a low value person. If you led with your vagina,
No,
you
that's
would
what
be
I'm
a
saying.
low value
I don't
person.
think I don't think that guy from Atlanta. I don't think he was leading with his money. That's a totally different feeling.
He started off saying, "I'm a fly you."
He started
That was the
off
first
saying
date.
he started off. We were talking. We talked for a while before this happened. Now this one I just dated, yeah, he flew me out immediately. That's a different man than this one. This is
Okay.
someone who actually took the time to get to know me. This is someone like me. I told my girlfriend, I said, with this guy, I know what love is. I know what lust is. I know what it's like to be pursued when someone's trying to get to know you, and I know when someone's pursuing my panties. He was pursuing my panties. So you gonna play with me? I'm play with you, and you still ain't gonna get no panties.
You can get flown out on the first date, and it's not necessarily like they don't want to be in a relationship with you. They just like you can
Like
have a
some
serious
people are
relationship
But the
with
way-
someone that flew you
the
out.
way
But the
that-
majority of men flying girls out on the first date, you're right, aren't looking for serious relationships. That is
But
something
as
that
a
is
woman,
true,
your
but-
discernment has to
There's
kick in and
situations.
kind of know what the difference is.
But the
or-
way that y'all look at a man that leads with his wallet is the way that we look at women that lead with their box. It's the same concept. It's not. This isn't gonna go anywhere
Right,
because
so
I
those
know
two people
you.
gonna go together, and you gonna find you somebody that lead with something else. I'm
I-
gonna find somebody like I want somebody to lead me with a vibe, lead me with, to make me feel something.
Or
like,
you just choose not to do anything at all.
Yeah, or I
so
just
what?
choose not
So
to do
so
anything
here's
at
the
all.
thing, right? When men. So back to my statistics. 50% of men have stopped approaching women. 63% said they don't want anything to do with women. The next statistic is by 2030, 45% of women will be single and childless. Right? Here's why that came up. Morgan Stanley did a study to basically tell their investors what to invest in. And they said, yo, women about to be single as hell by 2030, invest in these things, dog food, cat food, whatever, right? how does that make you feel when you hear by 2030, almost half of women will be single and childless at the
It
age of
makes me
30?
feel like
I'm
men
kinda
ain't
happy
trying
for
hard
them.
enough, and good for them women. It's gonna be less stress. Women
Yeah,
are a
I'm
lot
kinda
more
happy for
happier,
you.
single and without man. Some women feel like they got a son instead of a man, so good for them. It makes me sad because I don't want to be a part of that percentage,
I
but
feel like
I'm happily single. I'm not. It was a time where I was miserable and single, but like I'm happy. I make really good money. I can get up and do whatever it is that I want. I ain't gotta wait for nobody to do nothing for me. I don't gotta wait for him to pay the bills. I don't gotta wait for him. Like, you know what I mean? So good for women that we can take care of ourselves and we don't need a man. But I feel like men need to try harder.
I don't think it's anything wrong with being single and childless in your 30s.
Yeah.
Like as long as you're happy and
I
you're
don't need no coin snatcher.
you have a purpose in your life that's pushing you, like as long as you have purpose in life, you don't need a kid. Some people's purpose in life is children, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like I think there's also a lot of situations where women are stuck in marriages and with kids and they're not happy with their relationships, and like good for women to be able to stop that and be single and childless instead and happy. I don't think there's anything. I don't think the statistic is saying that there's more women being childless and single in their 30s and that's a bad thing. Like, is it really a bad thing?
I just think it's a statistic. That's the group of people that they ask that question to, and that represents them people that they ask. That's not.
It's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
Is it a bad thing? Is it a bad thing for society if everybody is single, or if
I
a large
do.
majority of people are single?
Because it's not we won't be a productive. So what are we producing? Humans were put here to produce and multiply, and if we're not doing those things, then I don't want to say we're a waste of space, but we're gonna die at some point if we're not constantly creating. Animals reproduce at 10 times, 18 times, 20 times the rate we do. They're gonna outnumber us if we don't.
I don't think that's going to happen because at the end of the day, this statistic is for people in America.
That too.
And the rest of the world is still
Seems pretty
procreating
happy.
and
It's
getting
actually
married.
not. So for the first time in history, they call it the replenishment rate. The rate at which the world populates to stay at the same population. For the first time in history, it's declined. So we're not keeping the population the same
it's not.
every year. It's decreasing.
I
And
believe it.
what happens is like when men and women aren't getting together to create families, you're not building like productive members of society because like 67% of black children are born in a single family household, and we know that like that's not the best way to raise a kid. So then you're not producing good kids. Then those kids grow up and then they're recreating the cycle. And so
That's
it's
why I
like,
think it's okay to be single and childless because we're producing less of that, at least.
Exactly.
well, even from a financial standpoint, do you know the amount of money you need to retire at 65 and like live a decent life?
Too much money now. That's why they're trying to push it to 70 something.
Well, that's part of it. Because people aren't getting
It's
married.
like over 600K. I think I read the same thing. You read.
2.4 million in today's dollars. It's around 4.5, and like by the time that we hit 65. So if you don't have $4.5 million by the time you hit 65, you'll be in a nursing home. You'll be on government assistance. Like people don't even have the amount of money they need to live a life by themselves. That's part of the reason that people get married. You need somebody to change your diaper. Like,
I
you
tell
know what I
people
mean?
that all the time.